Elon Musk has always been very vocal about his dreams to build cities on Mars, and with his latest venture through SpaceX called Starship, he might actually be getting much closer to his goal than we think. Suit up everyone, the future of space travel is coming. This is TechSpace, and welcome to the Technology Behind series. In today's video, we will be taking a closer look at the technology behind SpaceX's new rocket. Elon Musk's ambitious space company SpaceX has had a pretty good run in 2020, launching mission after mission, and all of them pretty much successful, and it looks like 2021 is going to be no different. The basic founding ethos that drives the company and the company's CEO is to make cities on Mars someday. Well, you can't really expect to do that without spaceships to take us there, now can we? In order to be a spacefaring civilization and a species that can move from one planet into the other, it is important that we have the right vehicles to take us there. This is the very thing that SpaceX has so focused its attention and resources on. SpaceX has now developed a space vehicle that could quite possibly be a game changer for space travel. The vehicle is called Starship and will be a fully reusable transport system that is reported to be able to carry a total of 100 people to the red planet Mars. Let's take a closer look into the new rocket from SpaceX. At its launch, the spacecraft was called Starship, and it sits on top of the rocket that has been named Super Heavy. Clever play on words right there. Design of the Starship. The combined system of the two of these has been called Starship, and it stands tall at 120 meters or 394 feet. The vehicle is made stainless steel, and it bears a close resemblance to rocket ships from the golden ages of science fiction. This doesn't come as a shock, because most of everything that Elon Musk seems to come out with, whether it's his Tesla Cybertruck or the alien-looking astronautical wear that he launched for the Dragon mission, they all seem to be heavily inspired by sci-fi and old movies that had their versions of what the future would look like. It has massive nose cones and landing fins. At its rear, it has 6 highly efficient Raptor engines. These report engines have painstakingly been developed by SpaceX over the course of a decade. Well, all good things take time, and this surely stands true for the Starship. When the combustion takes place, it takes place in stages, and the design of the engine is able to cut back on the amount of propellant that's wasted. The middle of the vehicle has propellant tanks. These propellants feed liquid methane and liquid oxygen to the Raptors. It is in fact the combination of the methane and oxygen which gives the chemical reaction that will then cause the fuel to burn. Megan is known to generate plenty of thrust, and the fact that this is being used for the Starship just shows that SpaceX knows their stuff really well. It is not the most common choice of fuel for a rocket engine equally, but it works well here. It also is a very careful and strategic choice when it comes to Musk's plans and designs that he has for Mars. The CEO has said that the CH-4 could possibly become synthesis from Martian subsurface water, as well as the atmospheric carbon dioxide, using the chemical process that is popularly known as the Sabatier reaction. It is this process that they are relying on to fuel up the Starship for the return trip to Earth. Using these Martian resources would allow them to achieve a level of self-sufficiency, which would make the journey to and from Earth to Mars very self-sufficient and cost-effective. At the front of the spacecraft, or also known as the upper stage of the spacecraft, there is a huge payload compartment that can be used to haul large cargo and people to destinations deep into space. Now that's some very futuristic planning right there. When it comes to the rocket part of the spacecraft, this is where things get very interesting. Known as Super Heavy, it measures at around 230 feet long and can be filled with up to 3,400 tons of cryogenic or chilled methanol. That is the combination of methane and oxygen. The rocket is supposed to be lowered by 32 Raptor engines and is believed to be able to achieve more than 70 meganewtons of maximum thrust. The rocket is expected to be able to lift up to 100 tons of payload and quite possibly 150 tons when it comes to low Earth orbit. If it really will be able to do all of this, then this would mean that Super Heavy is much more powerful and immense than the Saturn V launcher that was used for the Apollo missions all the way back in the 60s and the 70s. Trust Elon Musk to push boundaries and break records. Are you enjoying our video? Before we get further, please like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more amazing videos from us. Let's continue to see how the landing happens. The engineers have craftily designed the spacecraft in such a way that when it is ready to land, The ship will re-enter the atmosphere at a 60-degree angle, and from there, it is supposed to belly flop on the ground in a horizontal position. This may seem far-fetched and comical, but the engineers have made it so. Long gone are the days when they would rely on parachutes and landing mechanisms for a runway for the rockets. Honestly, that's exactly what we would expect something from SpaceX to do. This mode, however, will heavily rely on the atmosphere itself, so that it will be able to slow down the descent of the vehicle. The vehicle has 4 landing flaps made of steel, positioned near the front as well as the end, so that the descent can be properly controlled. The concept is similar to skydiving when the diver uses their arms and legs to kind of steady themselves and control the fall. It's basically like doing somewhat of a controlled fall. What will it be used for? Keeping true to his vision, Musk has stated that the spacecraft will be used for long-haul trips that will be made between Earth and Mars and should take up to 9 months each way. He is now looking to install about 40 cabins in the payload area right near the front portion of the upper stage for this very purpose. The founder has stated that they could have around 5 to 6 people per cabin at the highest capacity. It would prefer to see only 2 to 3 people doing so. That's why they have set the estimate to around 100 people per flight for the trip to Mars. Along with the cabins, the payload area is also expected to have a common area, storage space, a galley, and also a shelter in the vent that people would need to take shelter during the solar storms. You thought storms only happen here on Earth? Well, guess again. SpaceX has even said that because the payload capacity is so much, it could open up other possibilities, like robotic science missions, telescopes, and more. What can we expect from Starship? Starship is expected to play a huge part in the Artemis program by NASA, which is seeking to establish long-term human life and presence on the moon. The company was even awarded a whopping $2.89 billion worth of contract to develop the Starship into something that was capable of landing and delivering astronauts to the lunar surface during this very decade. The money was given by the U.S. Space Agency themselves, and SpaceX will surely make good use of the money and any capital that they can possibly get their hands on. If developed successfully, this system could actually be used for space tourism and high-speed journeys between the Earth and various other destinations in space. The Starship could eventually be carrying people to destinations even like the greater solar system and big gas giants like Jupiter, but then again, that would remain as the long-term dream. The fact that technology and spacecrafts like the Starship are already here is exciting, and we have a lot to look forward to with the new SpaceX rocket. And with that being said, it's time to end our video. But before that, we want to know from you what you think about the Starship, and would you want to travel in it? Let us know in the comment section. Consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.